Hello and welcome again to Safety Short Series. Today we'll be posting 28th video of the series, and today's topic is site safety and on construction site. So basically, construction site accidents, are common, but the majority of the time they are so easily avoidable. Now, working at a construction place should always be, a safe operation. Now we must understand that construction site is high occupancy and a high risk area for every activity happening, and has not yet, decided how to make it safe. Things are not fixed. Temporary structures, fixtures are, most importantly, every day it's a new site for it evolves to its intended final structure. So there is a wide range of risk and hazards associated with working in a construction site. Now, it is absolutely right that employers understand the risk and do everything they can to mitigate them as much as possible, so far as reasonably practical. Now, by comparing all other job sector, construction has the maximum number of fatal work injuries. Now, construction accidents, cause thousands of on-job injuries and contribute to almost 20% of yearly private industry worker death in India. I have to understand this. This is very alarming and concerning. तो बेसिकली हम लोग सब जानते हैं कि कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट के ऊपर क्या होता है, और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट और कंस्ट्रक्शन हर जगह हो रहा है, राइट? अब ये जब हर जगह होता है तो आपको सबसे पहले तो ये समझना पड़ेगा कि कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट के ऊपर जो एक्सीडेंट्स होते हैं ये आराम से हम अवॉइड कर सकते हैं, बच सकते हैं इनसे। लेकिन समस्या यहाँ पे सबसे बड़ी ये होती है कि इन चीज़ों को समझना और इसे समझकर आगे इम्प्लीमेंट करना सेफ्टी को बड़ा डिफिकल्ट होता है कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट पे। क्यों? क्योंकि ये तो रोज चेंज हो जाती है, रोज कुछ ना कुछ नया हो रहा है, रोज कुछ ना कुछ नई एक्टिविटी वहां पे साइट के ऊपर प्लान की जाती है, राइट? तो आपको ये समझना पड़ेगा कि 20%, इंडिया के अंदर जो 20 बाकी सब इंडस्ट्रियल सेक्टर के साथ में कंपेयर करें तो 20% इंजरीज जो हैं वो कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट से आती हैं। और इंजरीज के बारे में जब मैं बात करता हूँ, ये सिर्फ हाथ में चोट लग जाना है ऐसी इंजरी की बात नहीं है, कट लग जाना है, इन सब इंजरीज की बात नहीं, लेकिन मौत या लोगों की डेथ्स जिसे हम कहते हैं, ये 20% कंस्ट्रक्शन इंडस्ट्री में होती है। क्यों? क्योंकि आप ये समझिए कि कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट जो है ये लेबर सेंट्रिक है। बहुत सारे लेबर्स होते हैं, बहुत सारी एक्टिविटी एक साथ में चलती है, बहुत सारे अलग अलग लेवल पे लोग काम करते हैं। अब वो कुछ स्किल्ड होते हैं, कुछ अनस्किल्ड होते हैं, कुछ लोगों को जानकारी होती है, कुछ लोगों को जानकारी नहीं होती। तो इस तरह से कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट जो है ये इवॉल्व होती है। तो आइए कुछ कॉजेस देखते हैं। सो बेसिकली कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट के ऊपर causes of construction site accidents. So basically surrounded by building material, tools and machinery, sometimes construction workers can find themselves facing hazards at a given moment. Now, there may be factors that contribute to the construction site injuries and fatalities. The main cause of fatal or worker deaths on a construction site are falls, getting struck by object, electrocution. So these are basic, problems. अगर कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट के ऊपर अगर हम लोग एक्सीडेंट्स के बारे में बात करें, तो एक्सीडेंट्स के अंदर जो कि मेजरली कंट्रीब्यूट करता है डेथ्स के लिए या मौतों के लिए, तो उसके अंदर आता है फॉल, आप किसी चीज से टकरा जाएं या इलेक्ट्रोक्यूशन हो जाए। ये सबसे ज्यादा कॉमन 3 फैक्टर है। अगर आप इन्हीं 3 चीजों के ऊपर फोकस करके चलेंगे तो आपको बड़ी आसानी से आप इसको एड्रेस कर सकते हैं और आप जानों को बचा सकते हैं, करेक्ट? तो अब कैसे किया जाए, हाउ टू डू इट? सो द वेरी फर्स्ट एस्पेक्ट कम्स टू फॉल. So this can be due to anything: slip, trip, oily surface, or given away surface, or even dis disbalance or uneven surfaces. Now most of the time these occur when uh, elevator shaft, frameworks, ladders, scaffolding, or canopies. Now, working on 4 feet or higher than the ground puts workers at a greater risk of falling. But anything that is capable of causing you to lose balance and fall is a hazard. No matter how it happens, falling on a construction site can result into a serious injury or even death. So hence, falling is to be given an important. So कैसे उसको importance क्या किया जाए? So first and foremost thing is you must understand the causes. Cause क्या है? क्यों क्यों ये हो रहा है? What are the reasons why the fall happened? Now falling from heights. Now falling from heights, everybody has to understand falling from height. How a person can fall from height? Simple. There can be uneven surface, oil, all other stuffs will be there. So a person can fall. So every day or every time, whenever you have safety rounds, fall should be one thing that should be in your mind. Okay, from where a person can fall. Okay, from where a person can fall. How to protect them. How to protect them. So there are only two things. So these are the causes that you need to understand first. Then we'll understand what are the mitigation measures also. So how to do it? So first and foremost thing is identification of it. So falling from height, you must first understand and realize that yes, a person can fall from height. Okay, a person can fall in holes and shafts. Now on a construction site, it is very much available. Falling due to trash or unsafe surfaces. Now naturally, there is trash everywhere. So there are so many things lying here and there on a construction site. So that is one of the probable reasons why a person can fall. You can easily slip, trip, or you can fall by getting struck by the uh, trash that is lying in a place. Correct. The second most important cause of a construction site accident was getting struck by an object. Now imagine getting struck by an object. It is like you can be struck with anything. You can be struck with any पोल दैट हैज कम आउट और सरिया बाहर निकला हुआ है या कुछ भी कोई भी चीज पड़ी हुई है. सो उसके अंदर जब हम लोग देखते हैं कि भाई getting struck by an object, that means what? Getting struck by an object means a person can be struck by equipment failure. भाई इक्विपमेंट खराब हो गया, इक्विपमेंट से कोई चीज टूट के छटक के बाहर निकल गई, एनीथिंग इज कमिंग आउट ऑफ और फ्लाइंग बिकॉज फ्रॉम एन इक्विपमेंट. A crane accident. So crane basically is used for everything, every material movement. Now anything can fall from it, or while movement of the crane also, when you are lifting up, you can be struck by the material that has been lifted by a crane. Correct. Or sometimes the slings are given away, so that is to be recognized, and you must know that what is to be done. Correct. Now scaffold accidents, very common. We have the most unsafe scaffolds on a construction site always, because half of the time people are not aware that how to construct a scaffold. They never make access platforms, or from where to get up. They simply climb the poles. So that's one of the reasons. So scaffold accidents, you must always have an access. Where is an access? If you don't have access, how you will climb up? How will be your man movement will be there? Even while constructing a scaffold, you don't have an access. So if you don't have an access, how you are supposed to go up? Primarily on a construction site, saving cost is one of the biggest reason why you get struck by an object or when anything collapses. There should not be cost saving with you cannot play with people's life. So scaffold accidents are one of the factor for getting struck by an object. Heavy equipments. Now there are heavy equipments, vehicles, so you can be struck by heavy equipments or vehicles because you're just moving and somebody is moving that vehicle. Not even that, specifically, if I talk of the breaker. So you have constructed something, now you want to break it because there were some changes given by an engineer. So he starts breaking. What will happen? You'll get struck by flying particles when you're breaking that construction or a concrete. Correct. Now getting caught between objects or material. So that's very common. You're lifting a material, you're going from some place and you're being stuck between, any material or an object. So that's also getting struck by an object, correct? And finally, electrocution. Now, electrocution is most common. Why? Imagine all electrical are temporary. Sometimes extensions are taken, electrical works with water logging, weak cable insulation, crust cable due to movement, and even pinch your corners. And sometimes, due to due to the fact that when construction site are in progress, there are often exposed wiring, power lines, and unfinished electrical systems around premises. Coming in contact with these could lead to electrocution or shock. It is one of the top four leading cause of workplace fatalities. Now, electrocution remains a real threat to workers on a construction site. Now imagine हम लोग किसी भी कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट के ऊपर बात कर रहे हैं, तो कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट के ऊपर क्योंकि केबल खुले हुए हैं, अब आपने पता चला आप फर्स्ट क्लास इंटीरियर कर रहे हैं, वुड वर्क लगाया हुआ है, वहां पे केबल खुले पड़े हुए हैं, एंड देन द स्पार्क और शॉक हैपेंस एंड देन फायर स्टार्ट्स और एक्सप्लोजन हैपेंस. सो यूटिलिटी लाइंस का कनेक्शन चल रहा है, स्पार्क हैपेंस एंड इट कैचेस फायर. So that's all. These are the major causes of a construction site accidents. Now, what can be done? Right? Let us discuss what can be done. So, how to prevent a construction site accident? Now, primarily, construction site accident mainly is the focus on the employer or what employer can do. Now, majorly, it is administrative control. So, how that administrative control works? अगर हम लोग किसी भी कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट की बात करें तो किसी भी एम्प्लॉयर का एक एक डिसीजन होना चाहिए कि भी हमें ये करना है. सो दैट इज देयर इज अ विलिंगनेस ऑफ द एम्प्लॉयर आल्सो. तो सबसे पहले शुरुआत कहाँ से होती है? सबसे पहले शुरुआत होती है प्रोवाइडिंग ट्रेनिंग फॉर ऑल एम्प्लॉयज. नाउ व्हेन यू आर प्रोवाइडिंग ट्रेनिंग, सो ट्रेनिंग किन चीज़ों के बारे में? ट्रेनिंग हर एक्टिविटी के बारे में, हर चीज़ के बारे में. बिकॉज देखिए, ट्रेनिंग होती रहेगी ना तो लोग ज़्यादा अवेयर होते रहेंगे, उन लोगों को बार बार बताया जाए. काफ़ी सारे लोग ऐसे होते हैं जो कि पहले दिन ही आए होते हैं, हाँ भाई चलो आज लेबर से वहाँ से उठा लो, सड़क से लेबर उठा लो. तो ये ट्रेनिंग होनी बहुत ज़रूरी है. तो जो प्रोफेशनल साइट के ऊपर होते हैं, सेफ्टी ऑफिसर्स होते हैं, क्योंकि आपके यहाँ पे आज लेबर कौन सा आया है, हर लेबर से आप मिल नहीं सकते. सो मॉर्निंग में एटलीस्ट गैदर करके आपने एक छोटा सा ट्रेनिंग दे दिया कि भी आप क्या एक्टिविटी करने वाले हो, आप क्या एक्टिविटी करने वाले हो, आप क्या एक्टिविटी करने वाले हो. ये जानकारी और उन एक्टिविटीज के अंदर उन्हें किस तरह के प्रिकॉशंस रखने हैं, that information can be provided. This is again a simple administrative control. You don't have to spend a single penny on it. आपका एक भी रुपया खर्च नहीं हो रहा है. But whenever you're in the morning, when you're taking rounds, when you're asking people that okay, what you're going to do today and how you're going to do it, what are the job responsibility, what are the precautions that you have to take, simply discuss. It's a toolbox talk, right? So that should happen every day. So that's also part of safety training for all employees. Now hold frequent safety meetings. Now basically there are many people working, like there are different supervisors, there are piping supervisors that are different than concrete work, civil or staircase guys is different. So there are many people or many activities that are happening. Now each activity supervisor who is supervising that activity should be part of a safety committee meeting, and in the committee along with the safety officer. Now safety officer will be one, or sometimes on construction site there will be not a single safety officer. Now this I'm talking of Indian scenario, not outside. So when you have a safety officer on site, then what you are supposed to do? Primarily all the supervisors, all the activities that are going on site. So you are basically the eyes and ears of the safety officer, because one person, how much he can roam, right? So unless and until the information is shared, so how that information will be shared? That will be shared in a safety meeting, correct? Now this should happen. The safety meetings should happen. The frequency should be more. And finally, when it comes to then we decide that how to prevent it. So prevention का प्लान जब हम लोग करते हैं, so prevent falls by identification. बेसिकली किसी भी सुपरवाइजिंग एक्टिविटी को, कोई भी एक्टिविटी अगर कंस्ट्रक्शन साइट पे चल रही तो सबसे पहले तो वो एक्टिविटी सुपरवाइज्ड होनी चाहिए. एक सुपरवाइजर उस एक्टिविटी के लिए होना चाहिए. अब नो डाउट अगर अलग अलग जगहों पे हैं तो आपको सबसे पहले ये आइडेंटिफाई करना है क्या यहाँ से फॉल हो सकता है, क्या इस एक्टिविटी के अंदर चांसेस हैं कि फॉल हो. So accordingly, if you have a concern and if you are not able to understand, there is nothing wrong in asking for help. So what you do, you simply ask that how to prevent it. So first and foremost thing is you need to first identify it from where a fall can happen and then make provisions. The second aspect is recognize the hazard and make a plan. So whenever it is not about only fall, fall is specific because there are higher risks of it. But when it comes to identification of the hazard, you must first have identify it. So what you are going to do in safety meetings. So in safety meeting, you're ultimately going to identify the hazards and then make a plan that how to mitigate them. Correct. Uh, Second point, and after administration comes to housekeeping and maintenance. Now, most of the construction activities, there is very less maintenance of what equipments that you're using, material that you're using. So anything and everything has been put in place. Just एक बोलते हैं ना कि वो जुगाड़ू टेक्टिक चल रही है, कुछ भी मटेरियल लाके कुछ भी लगा देते हैं, कुछ भी रख देते हैं, कहीं पे भी रख देते हैं. तो सबसे पहले तो किसी भी कंस्ट्रक्शन एक्टिविटी के ऊपर मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट होता है हाउसकीपिंग और मेंटेनेंस का. तो इसमें इन्हें करना क्या है, बड़ा आसान है. वर्क प्लेस को क्लीन रखना है, इक्विपमेंट और को मेंटेन करके रखना है, इक्विपमेंट और टूल्स को. क्यों, होता क्या है, वर्कर्स की टेंडेंसी क्या होती है, यहाँ रख दिया इक्विपमेंट, वहां रख दिया इक्विपमेंट, यहाँ छोड़ दिया कोई मटेरियल, वहां छोड़ दिया कुछ मटेरियल. ये क्यों होता है, बिकॉज they are not been given the responsibility to put it in an allocated space. So whenever you are going to use or any work equipment is being asked, okay, you are supposed to use it there, so it is to be brought back to a place. If not, then it should be allocated a place, and proper cleaning should happen in that place. Sometimes nails or small pieces of wood or maybe some covering, it's all lying here and there. So unless and until you remove them, keep the place clean, you will have this problem. So always make sure that the place is clean. The third point is vehicle machine movement and safety plan. So primarily we must have be careful with the vehicle regular checks. The first and most important part is every vehicle that is going to be used on a construction site should be carefully maintained and you should have a regular check on it. Sometimes even cranes or hydras or anything that is for excavation or for lifting material, if you're using any equipment for cutting, bending any material, any machine that you're using, it is to be properly checked. It should be properly made available. Proper maintenance should happen. And primarily, whenever there are heavy movements or crane movements, that is to be defined. If workers are working below it and or worker movement is there on the ground and you're lifting material, then you should have a covering over that area wherever the workers are walking. Because any material that falls from the crane or from material movement, you cannot stop it. You cannot save the person. So you have to be very careful. And then you have to define the vehicular traffic also. Sometimes there is vehicular traffic movement and the vehicles get stuck in a place because construction site, it is raw, it's not properly constructed, there is no properly constructed road. And that is first thing, is this is very important. To define a vehicular movement, that means you have to prepare at least a basic road to the approach to reach that place. Correct. So you have to define the route and task. So accordingly, this activity has to happen. And finally, personal protective equipments. Now, utilize protective clothing and gears. This is very important. We bring in any type of PPEs that are not even suitable or comfortable to the workers. That results into another greater factor of hazard. So if you have proper PPE set, that will help, and then only people will wear it. Just wearing it for the sake of showing is not going to be a solution. So you have to make sure that you have proper personal protective equipments. This will save a lot of lives. Correct. So hope we were able to give you as much information on site safety in construction. Thank you everyone for your support. Like I said, Safety Short is a series focusing on short safety videos. Thank you for all your support. We'll keep posting more such videos. Keep liking and sharing, and do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Till then, be connected and stay safe.